Hey there, welcome back. Marius here, and today we have City Skylines 2 and Optimized Settings Guide. I'm going to show you what and how to do so you can actually play the game. So this is for your experience, and I'm jumping right in the game. So in the background you have my city. This is the playground. I'll show you the graphics. I will use the problems it still has, and you can decide. And I'll also show you how to remove them. So there's no clickbaity whatsoever reasons behind the video and all that. I have only 35,000 in my city, so a lot of people are saying when you have 100 and all that, yeah, the game will suffer more the more it has to draw. But why I'm using this setting is it's one starter of the square, fully built, everything unlocked until the point where basically everything is available for you, and that's the moment when I reached 35,000 people. That's in one first square, not buying anything else. So you can approximately calculate how more people you can build and make, and how long playthrough you have to have until you hit that frames per second problem. So I'm gonna show you what's the current situation. You see, pretty decent graphics. If you move around, it is blurry. Basically, that's Fidelity X kicking in. And once the moving stops, it's basically can't handle it. Then the image is absolutely sharp. If you move around, basically, well, it is a bit blurry. That's problem number one. Problem number two is at certain distances, there is a flickering going on. Annoying as hell, but, well, you see, at this distance, where basically it's not even for the building purposes, it's totally fine. When you go closer, everything is drawn. I'm also showing there is no workarounds, or basically I'm not making... The video graphics is garbage in terms of quality. You see, it's basically lowest possible, but it's smooth, no stutterings. I'm playing between 60 to 90 frames per second, depends on the distance I'm viewing and how much game needs to draw. Basically, absolutely playable game. Of course, I have good gaming grid. You will have different experience for every computer, but hey, I'm gonna show you, and I'll show you basically this is the only game's settings optimization video you will need to see, because it is basically the worst ever with the points, so the game is actually bearable and not... it's pleasant for the eye. Let's put it in this way. All right, now you've seen how it works. I'd show you two problems it will face. Let's start, and basically rest of the game, there will be... rest of the video will be timestamps for every single point. I'll try to, so it's easier for you. So, for example, this first part is skippable as well if you didn't notice. So, first things you need to do is, without any optimization, I just noticed, and I'm gonna explain it. With basic any graphics, if you select frame rate, which sounds obvious, you will have, and I had, stuttering. Basically, game tries to pull out as much frames as possible, and it leads to the moments when it's too much to draw, it stutters, and it absolutely destroys all the gameplay fun. You want to throw it out. Instead, go with simulation speed. It basically makes the game fluid. It's simulation. Don't think like a simulation, so it's similar. It's basically game fluidity. That's how I see it. Once I changed to this setting, there was no stutter whatsoever. Yes, frame rates were lower, but they were stable. And trust me, that's what you want from your playthrough, your gameplay. That's out of the graphics at the moment. When you will have my optimized settings, I'd say there's no stuttering whatsoever if that was a problem. So yes, first tip, go with simulation speed. Rest of them will go in graphics. Let me quickly show you. This is the sample. You can pause the video, you will see and copy the settings if you wish to, but don't think the simple is enough. If you start watching video and someone says like, I just, changed, where is the global graphics quality to something, and someone doesn't have here custom, it means they don't understand what they're talking about, because there's real trickery going on in advanced. And as soon as you start changing in advance, you will have a custom settings, just basic proof. So it's worth watching or not watching. So few things at the start. I have not 1080 resolution screen. Game developers release that tip to optimize, and they basically say, you know what, go with lower resolution. That's not the way. That's not the way. Always go with native and then basically tweak everything around. Never ever go with lower resolution than your native screen requires. DLSS will calculate and render lower if it's needed, but always go with the resolution your screen requires. So my screen is bigger. In this case, it's not better. It's basically worse for this game. So all the settings, I am playing with 2K screen, and I had to enable this one checkbox to find 60 frames per second, hertz, basically. Doesn't matter much, but well, I like the limits if it's possible. Just you know, don't feel like it's need for that. But anyways, that's your option. I went with like if I will have 60, it's good enough. But anyways, so another thing weird, just from my experience, I tested out. Whenever you save the settings, basically at the end when you optimize everything, try to put full screen. In my case, I had 5 frames per second lower in the same setting. Basically, nothing changes. It reloads and then go back with full screen windowed. In my case, this is where 5% of your FPS can be lost. Most of the games under full screen perform better, not this one. Weird, but go with full screen windowed. That's that. Another point, VSync, always turn it off. There's no reason whatsoever in all the gaming history to go with VSync. There's like, on one hand, fingers you can count the times when VSync made gameplay better. That's it. Those who have 10 and 15,000 gaming reads absolutely maxed out, they will probably look at this and think, why? We all normal people that have less of a budget and budget computers and lower graph, it's never good. It's never a good sign to go with VSync, right? Simple as that. Turn that shit off. Next, precursor mode. That's up to you. If you have multiple monitors, it's just easier if you want to switch back and forth, for example, from my video settings to your settings. Yeah, it's go with free. Then I will start from the bottom, and I again repeat, there's at the top, select advanced, and we'll start from the bottom, just way up, and that's one by one. I will quickly explain and show you, and that's the end of the video. Will be there. So at the bottom, there's texture quality settings. This is custom, which means you have to custom make it. Go with very low. In this case, it basically, I had to Google MIP-BS, what it means for Unity engine, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, the higher this number, the more blurry the image. So now currently in the background, everything now looks like shit. I tested. What you want to do, you want to go with 0. So the thing is, if you go with default settings high, it will have trilinear filtering. If you go with very low, it will absolutely destroy, but billionaire. So my advice, go with 0. That means you will not have blurry graphics. It will be sharp as it can be from other settings, but it has to be 0. And I'm going with billionaire filtering because it has one less filtering, so it's faster. Simple as that. As I said, we are not going for pretty looks. We're going for optimized settings. That's what title said. Skinny quality, 2 bones, lowest possible quality. Animation quality, medium, again, lowest. Then we arrive at level of detail. Again, custom. Easy as that. What you do, you select very low. It is, I don't know why they do this, but what you need, you want this crossfade setting. This crossfade setting, what it does, where objects or graphics change from one polygon count to another, there's a popping up. You know, from gaming experience, from gaming industry, it's well-known fact where low distance is when you arrive at the object, it just pops up. It's annoying. It absolutely destroys everything. This thing is absolutely great. It basically transforms from one to another. It crossfades from one to another. What it means, there's no popping up. It will appear, or if the building is set lower quality polygons, because it's further away, you don't need to spend that. When you move closer with camera, at one point, it should switch to more polygons. This crossfade makes it basically like transform from one to another. Absolute game changer for the graphics details, because you see you have the lowest. 25 is good enough. I'd say even it's 30. It's in the background. You will see some things changing. So this is absolutely okay. Go with very low, as long as you have crossfade selected. That's it. Another thing what I didn't see any performance, but you see max light count. When there's lighting and shadow, that's what usually all the game engines just drop everything. I went with lowest possible. Doesn't hurt as much and more frames per second for me. All right, moving up. Water quality. Another weird thing where if you go with default settings, low, medium, high, you see the bars. I tested, you can test it, of course. You can test all these settings even without my video. I tested with these graphics, like absolutely worst. The water is not as good. Where changing these settings, you see a noticeable visual difference. Remember, this is not a sea game. You will have most of your time in land. When the water is the background, absolutely, there's waves, there's reflections, there's everything. The only thing that is missing from the low settings and turning it down, enable water flow. You will see where the water is flowing by the waves and all that, just for full better playthrough. Otherwise, turn everything down as much as possible. Then terrain quality settings. Here in the background, you will see I will change the settings, and this is something weird where basically one of the bar for low has to be lower, and then the target patch size changes needs to be higher. You see we have 324. And with high, basically to me, it's basic knowledge how you can test. This is more graphics taxing. This is the lowest possible. This is more taxing. This is the lowest possible. So I go full nuts for these settings. What it does in the background, basically, you see the landscape changes. It basically, now at the distance, it draws it approximation. When you arrive it will change, and with this crossfade also just to change to actual how it looks like. The problem with this, if you go with anything but this, I tested this and absolute maximum, there was up to 12 and 15 frames per second lost. So I was like, nah, those coastlines are not as important. From far away distance, when I arrive, they will be as it is, no problem whatsoever. This is the worst graphics setting. Make it worse. Shadow quality. This is something easy as that. Disabled is ugly. Never go with disabled. Go with next possible, which is low. I don't know why, but these bars in most cases doesn't do nothing. So you can go with low, and then this. I tested out, no changes, but one thing you need to make sure, there is no terrain cast shadows. Terrain basically is hold the land. When the sun sets and rises, every bump will be calculated for shadows. A lot of, no, don't do that. Just leave it. It's a land, okay? Only if you have absolutely hilly or cliffy land. I don't know if there's one that's just been in this map. I'd still say no, but yeah, you do you. Motion blur, disabled. These bars I have turned down, doesn't change nothing, but just show you that we don't want motion blur, never. Depth of field quality, this is really taxing. Even developers release like, yeah, turn it off, it's killing my game. So yeah, disable it. was never going to enable it otherwise. Reflection quality. Remember, reflection, when you hear it nowadays, you need to think, are they pulling any ray tracing? Because that basically tanks every single game across the globe, just like that. It's not ray tracing as such, but just disabling does not change graphic fidelity as it is. So there's no reason to do harm for your playthrough frame rate and fluidity of your gameplay with any of that. Just disable that. Be done with that. Global animation quality. Guess what that is? In most games, it actually ruins, in my opinion, also the graphical. It basically bloom. It makes things look unnatural. We're talking about graphics, video games, but anyways, disable. Simple as that. Don't go any of these whatsoever. Disable. Done. Then ambient occlusion equality. This is weird. I tested it out. I have screenshots I sent to my gamer chat friends. Time to have some. Actually, there's brother. With two pictures where one was ambient occlusion high and another I disabled it, and I saw how actually my frames per second dropped. There are other YouTubers that say that, yeah, with high, they see higher frame per second. But currently, whatever I do, I try to restart the game. I try to go to menu, change here, there, back. For me, nothing changes. Not anymore. I broke it for myself. I don't know. I leave it to high if somewhat it fixes itself. But yeah, go with high. As far as I can tell, it had higher frames per second. And of course, it looks better if you don't have it bugged as I do. So that's that. Fog quality. Just garbage thing. I don't know why the hell it is. It makes everything ugly and uses your graphics. Disable it. Simple as that. Clouds. Clouds are up there. This game is top down. Most of your time when you build and play this game, you will see top down. The only thing, there are shadows. Shadows. When there's shadows, there's always a lot of frames lost. So disable it. When you will have at the end of your city some scenery, you want some clouds, turn it on. Otherwise, no one is happy to see clouds on your sunny day, right? So disable. Last 2 points. Yes. Now this is the trickery. I will show you. This is the reason for flickering. Anti-aliasing TAA is the one thing for specific distance when you are not far enough to stop flicker. Oh, damn it. Flickers like crazy. Or when you arrive closer, the flickering is gone, but I need to capture this nightmare. So look what happens when you change these settings under anti-aliasing. You select none, no flickering. When you select FXAA, no flickering, no flickering, no flickering. You would say, Maris, but then let's go this. No, in the background, I'm not going to show you. You can test it for yourself. Every single one of these options make your game look like garbage. There is more pixels on your screen, well, less pixels on your screen than in Minecraft. I'm not even kidding. The only option how this game does not look like absolute trash is, again, with some trickery. There is no TAA. You need to basically select something that allows you to select another anti-aliasing method. So if you go none, there's even not that option. So select something, anything. And then under this FAA, F approximate AA, you can select TAA. That makes it custom. This quality is disabled. These settings, as far as I tested, nothing changes. Basically, this TAA, there's a lot of broken settings, what I'm trying to explain. This TAA is the only thing which is guilty for these flickers, but you have your houses that do not pixelate and is not consistently like jigsaws, and you can test yourself this anti-aliasing, every single one of them with all the settings I tested. I don't know why they are there. I don't know, either they don't work or someone who implemented doesn't know what they are doing, but TAA is the only savior that makes this game actually look playable. Shit you not. All right, back to settings. I have one more. I don't need to make this video longer than it needs to be. One last thing, we are talking about dynamic resolution scale quality. Has to be constant. This basically changes. So if you select automatic, you see it makes this checkbox. You don't need this checkbox. You disable it, you will have constant. And if you disable, that's also not a thing you want. You can run with that, but your frame rates will be low, you will suffer, you will be angry, you know, downhill, everything. So select constant, and here under the upsampler filter, you have three options. If you change anything, it will go with custom. They also look like garbage. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution is the only one, and this is the first version. When they update, the game will be way better. So currently, let's play what we have. So this is what you want. Don't make this checkbox. Select this one and pay attention. This minimum resolution percentage scale at this moment plays a role. By default, it's 50%, and this is why the game actually is blurry when you move around. If you want to, I'm just gonna demonstrate it. If you select here and put 100%, it basically makes like nothing is upscaled. You have 100%, you draw 100%, you have all the resolution. So at this moment in the background, this is a crystal clear, absolute beautiful in the sense game, but frame rates are down. This is the moment. This is the moment where you have to choose your poison. As you see, that's an active scale that you can change from 100 to absolute lowest. This is the highest frames per second I'm pulling off, which a little bit makes blurrier graphics. Yes, it's not as sharp, but I have way more frames per second. So that's the moment where you can choose. And you see the flickering, it's annoying, but these are all the settings. Now I showed you everything. I advise you to select everything. Look at your city, go around, see how it feels. If you, for some unknown reason, have too much frames per second and you feel like, I would like better quality visuals, then go and play around with, let's say, 75%, middle ground. It is higher resolution drawn, it's sharper. Now basically the game is, I'd say, more than playable, but take a look for yourself if the frames per second satisfy you. Otherwise than that, I am playing with lower settings, and now you have seen all my... Yeah, that's it. End of the video. Dynamic, yeah, no. Yeah, this, yeah, depth of field mode, just to remind you, nope, disable it, don't need it, don't want it, never ever, not in a single game. It makes everything uglier, in my opinion, and it uses a lot of resources. I don't see a reason why it's there, but make sure it's disabled. Also, the devs released the same, saying, yeah, by the way, yeah, it's not great. So that's out of the way. I'm ending the video. Optimize settings guide. Now you know everything. Go apply these settings, and this is the best game can pull. There is no trickery. I'm not selling snake oil or whatever. I'm basically showed you how to get lowest possible settings with not just bearable but good, beautiful buildings, not jigsaws, not these absolutely awful anti-aliasing things, and that's it. What your gaming rig can pull off, that's it. But we need to have developers patch DLSS or better next quality, this AMD Fidelity X Super Resolution or more optimization patch, all of them. But until then, this is 26th of October, few days from release. We have this currently the best settings I can provide you, so you can actually play the game and enjoy the city building, right? That's what it's all about. Alright guys, thanks for watching and we'll meet in other videos. Cheers.